We'll do our beers, then we'll bring them in.
So welcome to meet my friends today with Daddy Porter and my esteemed colleague,
Doug Ziegler. Cheers to you, folks.
We have podcast veterans on today.
We do.
Ben and Nick from The Blank Show. And I think they'll tell us what The Blank Show means. But from what I got from just listening to it, every show is a different, like it's a blank slate. They talk about something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun because most of the time they're drinking, so I can relate.
Yeah.
And they talk about things that we can relate to, like the pandemic and all these wonderful things swirling around today. I'm having a Carbon 4 though, horse face.
That's what you haven't had here, horse face. I don't think
we've had this one before. Happy we. One thing the pandemic has forced many of us into is this drinking multiple beers of the same beer. Because you said many a times, man, I miss my mix of six, and so do I.
I miss the singles, man. I do.
But we gotta, we have to conform to what's going on here, and the best way to, serve up our breweries is to buy their stuff. So these guys are fantastic as far as being entertaining. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Nick and Ben from The Blank Show. But we're going to start before The Blank Show. Do you remember that, Ben?
Oh, they've had a few iterations, I think, if I'm not wrong.
What's up, Ben?
I think Ben's had a few iterations.
Ben's had 38.
I have had over a dozen different podcasts in the past 6 years, but no, just with the two of us doing our thing.
Yeah.
We started off with the Poppin' Bottles Dadcast.
Yes, sir.
And now we're doing The Blank Show.
Yeah.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So in pre-production, we heard what you were drinking there, Mr. Ben, or Lil Sebastian, as you prefer to be.
So
you're drinking what?
Well, so this is an Irish dry stout called Irish Upon a Stout. It's from the Other Farm Brewing Company, which is right down the road in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. It's very coffee-ish. Very coffee-ish. I enjoy it very much.
Yeah. How about you, Nick?
Nice. I am drinking, this is the first time I've had it, AFK from Levante Brewing Company in Westchester, which, Greg, you have been to Levante. I was not with you when you went there. It's a pale ale. It's interesting. I like it. I like most of their stuff. And I'm also repping like every possible craft brewery in my area that I can tonight with my apparel.
Hello.
Yeah, I have a Stickman Brews from Brewers Ford and Chester Springs, Trogs in Hershey. God, this camera's messed up. Stable 12, which Greg visited with me. It was awesome.
I was at all of them. All of them.
And then East Branch, which is also local to me. So I do. It's a beer show. I got to bring all the locals on. Man.
Bring the big guns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to touch on our Philly trip.
We got a truck. We also have to touch on the Trogs question there a little bit later. But yeah. Mad Al.
Oh.
Okay.
So, and we let's start with normally we go all the way back, but I want to start like halfway through or at least quarter way through, which is explain everybody to one of you guys or both of you at some point. Explain to us what the Blank Show is, what the concept is, and yeah.
So when we decided to retire Poppin' Bottles, Ben was just kind of throwing around ideas for, what we still want to do something, but let's not have it be, parenting centric anymore. So it was like, Ben was like, what about the Blank Show, where just every episode is, you fit not necessarily fill in the blank, but we change the episode title based on the topic. So every week is a different topic, whereas previously we would touch on something different, and like every episode was like bam, 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 different topics. Now we try to stick to one and do it to the best of our ability. which may not be great. You know, it's okay.
It turns out, sort of.
we drink and pretend to know things.
Yeah. I mean, the real basis of it was, we decided to not do the parenting thing anymore. But we're still best friends. We still got plenty to talk about. We still love just having conversations with each other about just the random nonsense going on either in our brains or in our lives. So we pick a topic and we generally stay there, but not always. But either way, it's always a lot of fun every time we do an episode. So
yeah, I mean, we try to stick to one if we can, but it's so easy to just be like, we've never had a format with shows ever, so sticking to one, topic is not easy for us. But
no, I don't know what that's like at all.
Like, let's talk about the pandemic. Squirrel, and then we're off and running.
Yeah, let's talk about the pandemic, and then we start talking about the Eagles for 20 minutes, and then we start talking about beer for another 15 minutes, and then some point we loop back around.
Yeah, I will tell you I think my favorite moment out of any episode, and I think it was the drinking while quarantined one naturally, is the tail end of that episode. Ben makes a reference to just making like an OnlyFans account for just him baking. And we just, for the last 5 minutes, we're just chuckling. And then as we go off the air, full on 5-minute giggle fest. Like, can't stop laughing, either of us. Like, I was crying just because it was so dumb, but it was just, like, it was ridiculous, which is us.
Yeah.
On brand. Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
Doug?
Yeah, the idea of like the whole giggle fest, man. There's been times Greg, you and I have just kind of ventured into weird spaces that we weren't really intending. That's part of the fun, like taking the journey, man. Just like sometimes shit goes off the rails, and that's when stuff is fun. Like, yeah, you're gonna have a certain topic and you're gonna say, all right, well, here's our sort of focus, but you gotta leave some leeway. Like the idea of having structure is good, but like you need to be able to freeform and freestyle a bit, and that's something you guys do exceedingly well. It's something that I really enjoy. So
we very much appreciate
that.
Here's
a fantastic quote from one of the shows when I was listening to that. This is how Nick ended one of the shows. I forget which one it was, but I was like, wait, I heard that. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay away from me. It doesn't get any better as far as the pandemic. Saying I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
I mean, Ben just threw up some T-shirts that we're going to be apparently selling. So we should probably put that on one of them. Like, we just have logo shirts, so we should just put that on one.
Yeah, it's so funny, without a script, and the fact that the both of us are just so good at just talking to each other, just going for it. Like, the only time that we edit is when he edits out. Like, sometimes we'll have blank spaces of the internet cut out or something, and then putting on the intro and outro music. Otherwise, it's just us talking for a straight half hour to 45 minutes. So we got to start keeping track of the one-liners.
Yeah, you said yeah, Greg, you quoted one of us, and I was like, which one of us said that? Because I never, like, the next day comes and I never remember what I said, and so I'm like, wait, was that me, or was that Ben? My memory is horrible, which is great.
It might be because the copious amounts of beverages you're having at the time you're doing it, but
this is my first beer of the week, by the way. So
maybe that's why you need more drinks.
So this is clearly going to be out of context, but this is something Doug said after a show, and it was. Yeah, I don't. How do we get to that point? I actually remember.
I think I was trying to say something about the toddler. Like the toddler was just all by itself. I can't even remember where we were because I probably had like 5 beers at that point, and I was just spouting off. So I just about the toddler not having friends, and that was a problem.
I want to know this toddler's entire life story, who its friends were, what it did to piss off its friends, and why it's now ostracized from the group.
It was in the context, Doug, of the whole pandemic thing, and we have teenagers and they have friends, so that can you know what I mean, that can be used to mitigate, kind of the cabin fever and shit. And
Sure.
we're like, well, what if you have a toddler and
yeah, well, toddlers I think I meant to say toddlers don't have friends or something.
right?
That's
Toddler has no friends. So some of those, I know. I even said right after he said that, I was like, I wish we were still live because that was great. But and one of the other great moments is, especially live streaming, was when Doug. We always talk about it when Doug a bottle exploded on a live show. And
yeah, and I didn't know it, and I was like, psh.
It looked like he spilled it.
So yeah, it was great.
It looked like he just spilled it, and I don't know. We had Afro Beer Chick on making fun of him. It was great.
Yeah,
doing the live stream.
Impromptu stuff is fun, man, and that's why doing shit like you, where you just go, all right, we're not gonna have a script, but here's a general way we're going.
Well, and
one happens.
Yeah, and the one pro you guys had, I listened to today. You guys had Nick's like, I can't see you, and you're like, can you still hear me? Yeah. Okay, we'll keep going here. All right, cool. I completely respect that, man, because and then I think Ben said something like, yeah, man, they're shutting down the ISPs, or there are a lot of people online during the pandemic, and I'm like, right. So you guys even
there is so much porn streaming right now.
Do you mean in front of you? Is that what you're watching while we record?
No, wow. I mean, yes, but that's not what I was talking. That's not what I was referring to.
Well, yeah, I'm doing that, but not right now.
Right. Everybody loves when I share my screen and they're all looking for my porn. It's not on my.
What's funny is when you're like, I'm going to share this tab, and then you're like, maybe don't do that right now, Greg.
There's 90 porn tabs open. Open a new window. Just a singular window.
All right. So we're supposed to talk about you guys here. Hold on. We're talking about getting off on.
I was going to say,
this is just what we do.
Speaking of porn, there's Art Eddie. Hi, Art Eddie.
Hi, Art.
Art Eddie is the godfather.
He was even nice to us before you guys. Look what you do. He's being nice to us. And look what you do.
He's amazing. I love that guy.
He's the nicest guy I've ever met.
Yeah. And that guy gets interviews with people that I'm just flabbergasted sometimes. And I'm just like, dude, that is fucking amazing. That's great. And I look at him and he's so good at that stuff. And it's just I want to be like him when I grow up.
Can we just do the rest of this show and do nothing but talk about Art Eddie? Forget us. Let's just talk about Art.
I especially love his Instagram when he matches his shoes to his Star Wars t-shirts. I did not know that there was so many versions of Air Jordans that also color matched to Star Wars memorabilia.
Well,
I love it.
Man.
It's amazing.
Get in Art's closet, man. Just get all up in there. I haven't been there, but I can just imagine. Art, can you take us on a tour of your closet? Just Instagram Live it or Facebook Live it and just show us, man.
Yes.
And it would be like MTV Cribs, but just
yes.
closet.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is TM copyright Art's closet should be a thing.
Dude, it's the Arts Museum. What are you talking about? Come on.
The art exhibit.
Yeah.
The art exhibit.
Oh, I love that. And when he walks in there, he says, "This is where the magic happens." Unlike Chris, where they show the bed, it's his his sneaker closet is where the magic happens.
All right, can I do it? Can I do a quick side note on MTV Cribs?
Yes.
Remember, did you guys see the Red
Side
Man
note.
episode of Cribs, where his house
Probably.
was like a fucking shithole because he hadn't cleaned it? And it
I don't remember that.
was the best. He's like, "Hey man, here's where I play video games," and it was like this, like a Super NES, and like this. It just looked like just a freaking like rundown shack, and he just like, "Yeah, man, this is where." I don't know. That was like my favorite because he just. I think he was just mocking all that.
Didn't
Shit.
give a-
That was like the best performance art thing ever. Sorry, Greg.
I loved Red Man and Method Man
Mm-hmm.
and ODB and Wu Tang. I just love Wu Tang.
Yeah.
Hi, Ben's
Hi,
mom.
Mom.
Oh, hey, and Mom.
Hey, Mom. Hey, look, Mom, I'm drinking on the internet.
Be good, God. Be good.
And swearing. Awesome.
I'm drinking on the internet. What's your job? I drink on the internet. You get paid? I
That's
don't.
why I'm so jealous of Greg all the time. Are you kidding?
Aren't we supposed to talk about you guys on this show?
Hey man, this is
I
your
think
show.
so.
I don't
Well,
care.
it's your show. I don't know what's happening.
What's happening?
We just
No,
talk, dude.
No, man. So where'd you two crazy cats meet?
Next door.
Really? Next door to me?
Yeah.
Yes, that is the truth.
You're kidding. That's awesome.
So we do not live next door to each other anymore. This is actually one of my favorite things that we would talk about when we did the Philly Podcast Festival for 2 years in a row was our backstory. And so in our old town of residence, Pottstown, we had a townhouse, and I happened to see Ben and his wife pull up in the driveway, and they pull a baby carrier out of the back seat, and I'm up in my bedroom staring out through my blinds like a creepy guy because, and I'm like, ooh, name new neighbors. Ooh, they have a baby. Friends. So a couple weeks later, we're out at the mailboxes, talking, and we exchanged numbers for the first time. And so I'm sending him a link to my blog as, any blogger would do. Since he was a dad. And as I'm sending that, he's also texting me, hey, do you want to do a podcast about being dads? Literally 5 minutes, like after our conversation ends, we're just doing that, this back and forth simultaneously. And, within a week?
Yeah.
Like a week
that.
later, we did our first episode.
Yeah.
In your spare bedroom.
I would just like to preface. Yeah, I know all of the preparation.
You
All
have
the look.
you have your mom
I'm
trolling you on a live stream. I love it. I love your mom.
Yeah, amazing.
Ben's mom is great.
My mom is classic. You guys should just have my mom on. She's amazing.
I already know. I'm finding out right now.
So I do like to preface that every time Nick talks about the first time we met and started the podcast and all that, it does sound like we're dating,
Right.
which is not the case.
Not that there's anything wrong
Yeah,
with
no.
Ben, we're podcast partners. We basically are married. I mean, come on.
I mean, generally, yeah.
You know, Doug and I like to break news here on the show. So shit.
We're actually in the same room. We just have the basement finished in two different ways, so we can have
It's just the one
different
side of the
studios.
basement has the paneling, and then the other side we haven't put the paneling up yet. Yeah.
Yeah, this whole we have families thing, it's just a facade.
That's a pretty deep take.
And mom, don't Google deepfake. Just don't do it, because you're gonna end up with some weird stuff, and it's just don't do it. Yeah. So we move into this house, right? And at that point, I had been doing a podcast for like a year, which had no goals or strategy behind it whatsoever. I was neurotic about it, but I really had nothing going on aside from I was making episodes. And I've just, it's one of those things where when you meet somebody and you guys just immediately can tell that you're on the same wavelength. It's like, this person, I need this person to be my best friend immediately, and let's do something together,
And then we did something together for all of this time.
Oh God.
6 years, right?
6 years.
Yeah, we retired popping bottles after 6 years in the fall, so 6.5.
Man. And,
Basically almost Ben's entire time as a parent, because his daughter was 10 days old or 2 weeks old when they moved in. So it was like very brand,
like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, so very brand new.
so I have a question from our audience.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Is it my mom again?
Right, I don't know.
It's a good guess here. It's a good guess.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
What are the chances of a real football season this year? We got 4 big football heads here for sure. We got 2 Philly fans here. We got a Jacksonville fan here, and we have a Browns fan here. So let's hear about. Well, let's start with Doug. Doug,
So I think it's more likely that we will see a basketball season before we will see a football season. The reason is the number of players. It has nothing to do with
So Doug, you mean the end of the last season when you're talking about NBA,
Sure.
right? Okay.
Because here's the thing. There's a bunch of stuff, and all right. So I have nothing to do.
We're in this rabbit hole. Just go there.
Yeah. So I'm listening to a shit ton of these podcasts, and like
Mhm.
especially NBA ones, because I'm more of an NBA fan than I'm an NFL fan. But it's like they're talking about they have to reach a threshold for a couple of things. One of them is for the NBA, they need to reach 70 games for their cable contract to pay out. It's not something that's talked about a lot because you think, oh, well, they got their money. No, they need to reach 70 games.
No.
And then on top of that, the players need to reach certain criteria to meet their salaries. So I think and the thing is, there's less players and they can contain it more. They'll be like, here's 4 arenas. We're going to play all our games here. And I think that's more likely. Whereas football, it's 53 players a team. When it's training camp, it's like 100. Like, how do you, and there's a million coaches in NFL football. How do you contain that? How do you make it safe? I don't know. For me, I think there's a way they can figure it out. What that is, I don't have a fucking clue. I just think it's more like with like baseball, they're talking about coming back, that they're going to have a schedule. NBA, they're really trying to figure out a way to make it something where it's safe, where they can bring it back so they can make sure they meet all their revenue goals. I assume NFL is going to do it too. I just don't know what that is.
I mean, the NFL released their schedules tonight. Like,
Mhm.
Oh, that's
that-
right. They did that whole 3-hour thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And I watched none of it.
I saw it. I saw it on my phone. I was like, oh, what's the Eagles schedule? Oh, week 12 to 16 looks fucking terrible. That'll be fantastic. Just, brutal. But I mean, I feel like it's 60-40. Like, if the NBA and MLB can come back first and kind of show that there's a pathway to doing it, then I feel like it's more realistic. If they don't come back before, like if they just say, no, we're done. And even the same thing, like the NHL comes back. If none of them do before the NFL season, then I feel like the NFL may lean towards, let's push it back. But right now I'm sitting 60-40. I'm 100% hopeful because, football's my top and has been almost forever. So I really want it to come back. If it doesn't, that's going to suck, like all the rest of this. But I'm going 60-40 because I'm trying to be an optimist. Brian.
Ben?
Yeah. I gotta say, I agree that it's way more likely we'll see other sports come back first, and if they don't come back, then there's likely an NFL, like they'll push it off. I just feel like, thinking about it logistically, NHL, you can definitely bring that back soon, and NBA, you can definitely work that out. But like Doug saying, there's so many people involved in the operation, not even just the players, but the entire operation of an NFL football team. But the real concern behind the money, it's just like the WWE actually, because since the quarantine, I've been doing deep dives into WWE stuff, right? So the main reason that they're able to keep doing shows, aside from his ridiculous connections, Vince McMahon, is that 90% or so of their revenue comes from those TV deals, and it's pretty much the same across the board with all sports. So it's really, people got to get paid. They are, whether you like it or not, they are employees. They are contracted people that need to be paid. So they're going to do whatever they can to hustle that together as soon as they can.
So I'm going to answer this question pretty much just straight as it's answered or as it's asked. What are the chances of a real football season? 0. None. Not happening. In fact, I'm going to stand here on a little soapboard and already tell you that it's not already a real one. They're not having OTAs. They're not having these things that are like that lead up to it. If the way I see it, if it's going to be a sloppy ass season if they have them, because they can't get together. So like any rookie quarterbacks, any rookie head coaches, any new offenses that need to be installed, any of that shit is going to be, excuse my language, a shit show. We see the NFL come out, like we see them have their OTAs, their training camps every year, and we see these offenses come out looking like they weren't even together in the summer. Like the defense just like run over them the first couple of weeks, and then the offense is like, oh shit, we got to get our shit together. Like I think it's just going to be bad, that bad. How are they going to get the training camps in August? I'm a pessimist. I'm a real bad pessimist in this. I think that we should just scrap 2020 and move on to 2021. Yeah, it's easy for me to say. But
can I just say that I'm hopeful that it happens for one reason. I want to see fucking Tom Brady on a new team with nobody they fucking knows, like just completely fall on his face.
I want to see that just to fuck with Aaron Gavea.
Oh,
like that's all I want.
Yeah.
Just
Oh yeah.
He's out now. He said he's a GOAT, but that guy's he's not even going to root for him.
I feel Ben's mom though on this though. I do.
The World Championship Stone Skipping Competition. Have you guys been watching ESPN 8, the Ocho, on Saturdays on ESPN 2?
The Ocho.
No.
Exactly.
They've been converting ESPN 2 to ESPN 8, the Ocho, on weekends for like 12 hours with nonsense. It's great.
Hot dog eating contest.
Let me tell you, my mom is already a hardcore curling fan, so we're going to be hitting up curling pretty hard if the NFL doesn't come back.
Well,
you're going to start doing it. Please start curling. One
thing to watch here, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big soccer head. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big soccer head. And I miss soccer more than everybody. I miss any of this stuff. But I hear that the German league is trying to start up soon, but they're going to start up with no fans. And I hear the NFL's talking about, or I hear that they have contingency plans in for no fans. So again, back to Ben's mom's point, like I could see the NFL more likely having no fans than having a full stadium. And then again, to me, that's a real season is when you have fans. Like,
right.
If you don't have fans in the stands, that's not a real season. Sorry. Again, a team will win and all that. Not that I'm saying it's not real or authentic or they didn't earn it or any of that, but it's not it's just different. And that's just not, again, I'll watch it. I'll be the first one to watch it. I'm not saying I won't. If this is not what it normally is, it's going to be not real for me. I don't know. It's
going to be weird watching a complete, game in a completely empty stadium. What are they going to? How's it going to look when they score a touchdown with no fans?
She's just commenting away.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
I gotta say, I love it, but every time Greg references my mom for something, it sounds like he's trying to make a joke at first. Like I start to feel slightly insulted, and then I'm like, oh no, she commented. Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Ben, Greg respects your mother.
Right.
Otherwise, he'd be saying terrible things, inappropriate things. I'm just kidding. He would.
Right. Again, Ben's mom makes another fantastic point.
Yeah. She's a smart lady, dude. I'm telling you got to have her on the podcast next. Seriously.
And on this week's show, Ben's mom.
Ben's mom.
So that's just Peanut Butter Jenkins?
Yes, sir.
That's quite a name.
Again, Ben's mom should be on the show. I mean, look at that. Should we go back to no helmet to make it more interesting?
Oh my god.
Title your sex tape.
I think they did a movie about that.
Yeah, exactly.
When he was in it, it sucked.
Oh, really?
It's called Leatherhead. Don't watch it.
Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I actually love that movie.
Never seen it.
It's quite enjoyable.
Watching Doug Poor is just amazing. I can't take my eyes off it. It's just fantastic.
Clinkies.
Ben, I didn't see you pour. I mean, I saw the giant.
You'll never see me pour.
That thing is huge that he's pouring that beer.
Is that an aluminum growler?
It's like a giant hydro.
Yeah, this is the double drink tank from so Sly Fox is where I got it from, and it's gorgeous red. But you can get it from drink tanks. Double wall, sealed, insulated, all that jazz. And what can I say? It's 64 ounces of pure love.
Look at that.
We keep getting crowlers like every other weekend or so from Victory, who are doing their crowlers for $3.33 each. So I've been getting like 9 crowlers for like $23. And then also picking up, because they also are allowed to distribute Southern Tier spirits. So this delicious smoked bourbon from Southern Tier up in New York, just roll up, put on my mask. Yeah.
Okay,
and
so are they doing curbside too, or you have to go in there?
No, they have tables set up. So you order online, you roll up, they have everything out at a table, or they bring it out and give it to you. It's great. I love it. Yeah, Alex. Whoa is right. And your mustache is beautiful.
Whoa.
Your mustache is beautiful.
Oh, that
yeah, dude.
Gorgeous curl on the end of that mustache is delectable, sir. Delectable.
$3 crowlers.
Yeah.
Okay, Doug. Is that better than my 6 for $6 Hopalicious?
That's $1 per.
That sounds pretty fucking badass. It's a crowler's 32 freaking ounces.
Yeah.
And Ben's mom knows Alex.
Everybody knows Alex.
Alex
and his
everybody knows
sweet,
Alex.
Sweet mustache.
Speaking of the NFL, I was scrolling through some memory pictures on Facebook yesterday, and I came across me and Alex at the Super Bowl parade for the Eagles. It was so funny. So the whole time he was texting me, like sending me pictures of references of where he was in the crowd. And at one point I just gave up. I was like, I'm never going to freaking find this guy. I'm just going to get as close to the street as I possibly can. I'm maneuvering through people, drinking out of my little flask. And all of a sudden I bump into Alex. He turns around. I was like, Ben, hi, how's it going? So that was a lot of fun. That's a good memory.
You know who you didn't run into at the parade? Me.
Because you picked a terrible spot to be in.
I did not pick the spot. I just went with whoever I was with.
Right.
You know, that was an adventure in and of itself, and an amazing memory that I will never forget. Except, not with Ben.
It was insane.
We weren't together.
Okay, quick story, and then we'll get back to whatever the plan was for the podcast. So I'm I'm
There
standing there.
wasn't-
We're near the museum, right? And but we're right next to the street where the the open top buses, the double deckers are coming through. That's got the team on them, which is amazing. And this is the Eagles' first Super Bowl parade. Everybody's been drinking since the night before, right?
Yes.
So there was the whole Bud Light Dilly Dilly thing that year, right? And one of the buses rolls past with the Dilly Dilly guy, like the peon guy that they make fun of in like every commercial, right? And he stands up on top of this bus and he throws his arms in the air and he says, "Dilly Dilly!" like really loud. The crowd yells, "Dilly Dilly!" and then they start throwing beer cans at him. So I see this poor guy, arms in the air, "Dilly Dilly!" and then he gets this look on his face like, "Oh no, what have I done?"
What have I created?
As all of these, they're not even empty beer cans because they're trying to throw him a beer to drink because everybody wants to drink and have fun, except they don't know their own strength because they're drunk and they're just chucking full cans of beer at this poor man's head.
That was amazing. Dude,
Man.
I didn't think you were going to do
So
the
much
Super
fun.
Bowl parade story. I thought you were going to do the story of when you and I went down during the NFL draft when it was in Philly, and our buddy Chris Bernholt gifted us his passes to go and interview Jeremiah Trotter, Eagles great
Yes.
Jeremiah Trotter, at like a Verizon store or something while he was down there for the draft. So we go back, and there is. We go and we do our interview, just the two of us in a room with Trot, and which we never used. Ben has the audio, and we've never used it for anything. But what came
we're
of
gonna
it
have to do that soon.
is the best picture of me ever, and it's. I was just trying to get my picture with Trot, so I'm just standing there in a Trotter jersey, just like this, and Ben happens to snap it quickly, so he catches Trotter just looking at me like this. Just down death stare. I'm just smiling like an idiot, and Trotter's just looking like he wants to fucking murder me in the picture. There's also a good picture, but then there's that.
I think that's a good picture.
Like I have this thing where I'm real good at alienating Philly athletes by accident. So in late September, I was down in Philly to go to a concert, and we were staying at a hotel right across the street from the Reading Terminal Market, and we were out walking. Yeah, exactly, Alex. Exactly.
What's going on is just great.
Oh God, it's 5 years old, man. I didn't even have a beard in that picture. So we're walking the streets of Philly. We're right across from Reading Terminal Market, and out of the parking garage next to our hotel walks Ben Simmons from the Sixers. Just casually strolls like right past me, and instead of being cool or chill and just being like, "Hey, can I get a picture? Can I get an autograph? Whatever." I wait till he passes, and I turn and point and yell, "That's Ben Simmons!" Like what? Like what? Why? Just that's Ben Simmons, real loud. He takes his shirt, covers his face, and walks straight across the street to Reading Terminal Market with his face covered the entire time.
And this was before masks.
It is before COVID, so
Right.
Yes, yeah. So he was before his time. And I'm like, and every time I tell this story, I yell, "That's Ben Simmons," way louder than I actually did it. But he heard me and covered his face. And I'm like, "What? Who am I? Why? I was a 37-year-old man at the time who has zero chill with athletes, apparently. So, that's me.
Flash forward to last year. I had not heard this story yet. Either I hadn't heard it yet, or I hadn't heard it in a long time. He and I go to a Warriors Sixers game in Philadelphia.
That was
And
4 months ago.
We're sitting there watching the game. How long was it ago?
That was in January, dude.
It was a few months ago.
Yes.
It wasn't
It's
January.
this year. Yeah, it was January.
So
Feels like a
But
million years ago.
Yeah, it does.
we're sitting there, and he pulls out his phone and he's like, "Here, do me a favor. Just say, hey, look, it's Ben Simmons."
I was like, record
I'm
me.
like,
And I just
okay.
point
I don't know
down
why
the
I'm
record
doing
and I
this.
yell, "That's Ben Simmons!" Just to send it to my family.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm a ridiculous asshole. It's just kind of that's who I am.
Because you're an insane person. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
accurate. That is completely accurate.
But
And if
that's-
you've never listened to our show,
Right.
this is basically it.
for the most part,
Yeah, this is it.
Doug?
We're fun.
Dude, I
We're
got
fun.
yeah.
Doug, you got nothing?
He's got to put up with me, man. He's got to put up with me.
That's okay. I was waiting to see if you had a story about Allen Iverson, because if you alienated that guy,
Let me
there
tell you
might have
about the
been a real
time
incident.
I saw him at Hula Hands. That never happened, but that's where he hung out. Hula Hands and TGI Fridays down in the city. Although,
At a fucking TGI Fridays.
oh yeah, down in in Bala Cynwyd, right next to the NBC studios. The local NBC affiliate is where it was. It's not there anymore.
In my opinion,
I've
of
been
him
there.
greatly just on that information.
But today, I think was it today or yesterday was like the I don't remember how many years ago it was. Almost 20 years, 20-year anniversary of the practice rant. 20 years, man.
The
Yeah, because it was the year
great
before.
man.
Yeah, it was the year before they went to the finals in 2001. So yeah, 20 years ago that happened. And 19 years ago, they were in the finals and lost to the Lakers.
Yeah, they did, and had they not won the first game, they would have been swept. So yeah,
That is usually how that works.
oh, here it comes.
oh, there it is.
Y'all hear it, then that's that. I mean,
Are we gonna watch the whole thing?
one practice this year, but if somebody say he doesn't come to practice, it can be one practice out of all the practices this year.
I love him.
That's enough. If I can't practice, I can't practice, man. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I mean, simple as that. It ain't about that. I mean, it's not about that.
Oh my gosh.
At all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it's easy to talk about. It's easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here
Supposed to
talking
be.
about practice.
Not a game.
Listen,
Practice.
we're talking about practice.
How silly is that?
Practice.
Not a game. We talking
Not a
about
game.
Practice.
Practice.
Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the
No, sir.
game. We talking
Love 'em.
about practice, man.
Like it's
I mean,
his
how
last.
silly is
Hey,
that?
man.
And we're talking about practice.
That dude
I know I'm
had.
supposed to be there. I know I'm supposed to
Practice.
be.
Where's,
But
I know.
where's the
I
outside
know
of
that.
basketball?
and
Just
I'm not
fucking ridiculous.
shoving it aside, like it don't mean anything.
Like it don't mean
Oh,
anything,
man.
but
I do. I honestly do. But we talking about practice.
However,
What are we talking about?
practice.
We're talking about practice.
That one
man.
is on par with the Gamora
We're talking about practice.
Indianapolis
We're talking about
Colts
practice.
rant,
We ain't talking about
Playoffs?
the game.
The
We're talking
playoff.
about practice,
or
man.
or the
Yeah.
When you
Dennis
come in the
Green.
arena, and
We
you
knew who
see
they
me
were,
play,
so cram
you
their
see me play, don't you? You see me give everything I got, right?
right.
But we talking about practice right now.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Practice right
I
now.
hear you. It's
Yeah,
funny.
I think
to me,
we've had enough of it.
I mean, it's strange.
Oh.
It's strange to me
Rants
too.
for another
But we
5
talking
I will-
about practice.
I will never have enough of Iverson. I love that man. I love him as a player. Just love him. Favorite, like
So,
favorite
we're just talking
favorite
about
Sixer.
practice, though, dude. We're just talking about practice, Doug.
Yeah.
I'm gonna offend it.
Also, Ben sent
Right.
our little group for the show the picture of me and Trotter. By the way, in our Facebook group.
Oh,
Eh,
So if you
Wow.
choose to share that fucking gem, not told you I wasn't lying, man.
oh, wow.
Freaking classic.
Oh, are you serious?
Uh,
Are you gonna share
So
it so
good.
I can see it too? or-
Yeah.
let's see.
oh, you wanted to
Yeah.
murder me.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Oh,
What is
God.
this? Like, what is this little bald
Oh.
man wearing my jersey doing in my conference room,
Mm,
talking to me about whatever? What am I doing here?
Dude, that was basically a closet that we interviewed him in.
yeah.
It was.
It
Yeah.
It was
I
a
don't think-
closet in a Verizon store.
Yeah, and I don't think we can get close enough for people to see like his like when you get closer and you see like his face. It's
Oh, yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he straight up wanted to throw me through that sign. Like, get the fuck out. Like,
It's not.
you're out.
It's
Like, just
not.
he's about to just flunk, Axeman chop some wood on me right there. That's my life.
Oh man.
That's my life. I know,
Yeah.
Nancy. I know.
So there was a dad too, where
Oh, poor Nick.
what the hell was the fucking linebackers guy's name? When the Broncos, and I'm completely blanking.
Broncos guy.
Broncos guy that was at that too.
Glasses. Yeah, what the fuck was his
Oh,
name?
it was. Oh, I absolutely love this guy. He's one of my favorite NFLers. It was Von Miller.
Oh, I didn't know he was there.
Bob Miller. So,
I
I
love.
know.
Wow.
so I'm standing next to him, and he had talked in this thing beforehand about how he had a farm and he was working on trying to do meat more sustainable. So my wife inspects fucking organic farm for a living. So I'm like, so is your farm organic? And he looked at me and goes, no. Fucking great. Let's take a picture. Dumbest thing. I was like, oh, I have a relatable thing to talk to him about. And he's like, no. And I'm like, all right, so let's take this picture. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Like,
I feel like a dipshit.
follow up. Would you like it to be organic? No. Sir, get out.
Oh, man.
Right now.
I felt so dumb. So
Well, that's how I feel regularly, so you're good. Don't worry about it.
at least I didn't have an NFL player staring at me like I was a steak.
So
Organic steak or no?
No, preferably for sure.
Are you grass
Grass fed.
Yeah. Whatever's in the yard, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
is this your Jeremiah Trotter material?
AstroTurf.
That's basically the extent
Yes.
of the interview is that picture. And his thoughts on who the Eagles should draft when they drafted Derek Barnett. So 4 years ago.
Look
Something
at
like that.
Alex. Look at Alex making fun of you guys about how you run your podcast and shit. Like he's run one forever. Just saying.
Well, you know.
Hey, he was on ours. We had him on ours.
Yes, he was a few times. I heard it.
Really early on. too.
Very, yeah. He brought beer
Yeah.
to Ben's house at like 9 a.m. on a Sunday. It was amazing.
Oh,
that makes
was it his beer too?
I gotta
Yes.
tell you.
Yeah.
Then it was-
So
the shit was
so
good.
this is
Oh yeah.
a funny both a funny beer story and a funny podcast story. So Alex brought over a Russian Imperial Stout in a bottle
yeah.
that he had made. And I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I usually like stouts. And at that point, I had no idea about beers whatsoever. I was a Yingling lager guy, and that's it, right? So I crack it open, and he looks at me. He's like, well, just so you know, I messed this one up. Like this didn't turn out well. It's not very good. But if you want to try it anyway, go for it. It's yours, you know. And I thought it was great. It was the first Russian Imperial stout I had ever had. Apparently, it was awful, according to the guy who knew what he was talking about. But I loved it. So you know, it was a nice mind expanding experience from Alex when he came over to my house.
Yeah, he said he was on the popping bottle stuff.
Yes, he was. That was season 1.
Oh yeah,
It was the second time he was on. Yeah, Alex is very
season 1.
What's the word I want for? Alex is very critical on himself about his beer. How about that? Like he thinks his beer is worse than the people who drink.
Yes.
Because this beer is fantastic from what I had. It really is. It really
And
is.
we're pretty terrible. And we are pretty terrible people. So
He had this,
I've
story about
never
Alex.
had somebody else.
A story about Alex, which is adjacent to politics a little bit, is he came down and we got an Airbnb at Home.com one time. Long story short, so Alex brings like all this. He brought all this beer down, and it was amazing. So then he's leaving, and he's like, "Man, I got all this beer. I'm not taking it back." So he just left all this beer. So it happened to be the weekend of like the third Hillary Clinton Donald Trump debate, and like it was a Sunday night, and like it was a Sunday night at a convention, so like everybody leaves. But you guys know me, I stay like 2 days and go to the breweries and all that. So Alex left, everybody left, and I was at the Airbnb for I think one or two days after they left. But Alex left all this beer. So man, I went in that night with Alex's beer on the debate. It was amazing. That's all I got. And I was just like, was that shit good? And I was like, man, he had he had a black IPA that was just, I still remember that black IPA, Alex. That was amazing. But yeah, Alex is a really good brewer, home brewer for sure, man. There's no question on that one.
And when you came out last year, which we said we'd touch on your trip out here last year, you obviously you went to Trogs on your way in. Trogs. Trogs on my head. I don't know what I'm wearing. But then you went to Alex's and you stayed there before you headed down my way to do our day one of brewery tours.
It was day one, right?
So you got to witness Alex brewing, I think, or at least tasting his stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it the Mad Lab.
He had a porter.
Science Lab.
Yeah, he brewed a porter for me, and we were just drinking that thing. It was amazing.
Dude,
it's a little old man or something he was saying. I don't care. It was great. Something. It wasn't carved or something. I don't know. It didn't matter.
Dude, my favorite memory from when you were here last year, and Ben unfortunately missed it, even though he was supposed to be there for the breweries tour of Philly, which I could only do the first day of, is we start at Root Down in Phoenixville, which was great. And then we go to Stable 12.
Root Down, like the Beastie Boys song?
Yes.
All right.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I'm in for that.
It was really good.
It's real good. And then you go to Stable 12 here, which is right down the hill in Phoenixville. And Greg has Spotted Cow in his car, of course, which he brought from Madison. And he's like, "Oh, let me take some in." Or no, we're sitting in Stable 12, and the founder is the bartender. It's like 12 o'clock on a Friday. And Greg's like, "Oh yeah, I have Spotted Cow in the car. I'm from Wisconsin." The guy's like, Can you bring some in?" So what'd you give him? 4? Either 4 or 6.
It was a
Spotted Cows.
or 8 is what it was.
And then he gave us a case of Pounders.
What?
A case of 4-packs. And there were 4 of us, so we all got 6 beers just for him trading a 6-pack of Spotted Cow. And I'm like, well, I love Stable 12 forever after this.
Beer Days is one of the best breweries in Wisconsin. Beer Days is correct.
Yeah, I've only never had what you
Beer Days is correct.
what you gave me that day. And well, actually, one of my best friends from college moved out to Madison in the last year. to go to University of Wisconsin there to do like a doctorate program. And so he's always sending me pictures of like him drinking like Spotted Cow or, you know, some of the other stuff that they have. And I'm like, come on, man, can you just mail me some stuff, like some good stuff? I would love that.
Listen, as
It's
Greg,
just delicious.
Greg will tell you, as a Wisconsinite, like Spotted Cow is probably the weakest beer that New Glarus makes.
No.
So yeah, that's the one that we just heard about was the King Kolsch. Greg, are you getting that? That's supposed to be out tomorrow or next week. I forget.
I'm not getting it if I have to go to the liquor store. Sorry. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but Spotted Cow, you took that to Dad too, and people were like falling over themselves for to get a.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah,
It's so good.
it's a decent beer.
You can't again. You
They don't
can't.
ship.
You can't give Spotted Cow away in Wisconsin. You can't give it away, like literally. But once you go a step over the border, you can have a bonanza.
Well, they don't ship it out of state, right?
No, it's
So
all
you can only get it in Wisconsin.
Right. Well, and the story goes is that early on, when they were a young fledgling brewery, they did try to ship to Chicago, but it was too much of a mess for them. So they circled the wagons and said, "We're only going to do Wisconsin." And the rest is history. The legend has grown, and it's just they went 50% capacity 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. They went like up, and everybody was like, "Whoa, are you guys distributing? What's going on?" And they're like, "Nope, we're just going to make sure everybody has our shit, and we're just going to we can do more Spotted Cow that way, and then over here we can make the wonderful sours and all this other crap that everybody loves." Spotted Cow's a great beer, don't get me wrong, it really is good, but it's the worst one in the lineup. Just saying.
They make fruited beers. They're fruited beers, which I am not generally a fan of fruited beers, and their fruited beers are excellent.
Yeah, beer dazed. Everything.
That's awesome.
Two Women, that one you gave me, that was so good.
Genius marketing, limited availability. Yep.
I have a
Again, you say Spotted Cow, and it gets. Look at this.
yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So then now we have people chiming in on their favorite New Glarus, Belgian Red. Look at this. Again, say New Glarus. Look at this.
Daniel Fisher's from New York City, so like he's talking about that raspberry tart. The raspberry tart is excellent.
Raspberry tart.
Dude,
That sounds good.
I am not a fruit beer guy. I can't.
Doug, you had this
Like,
one.
not a fan of most of them. Sours, Gosas aren't my thing.
I can do ghosts, sours, no, but tarts, yes.
Doug,
I don't know if I've had a tart.
Doug, you had Serendipity.
Yeah, no sours.
Serendipity was excellent, and my brother-in-law, who's had that at GABF, said that was one of the best beers he had at GABF. So,
Wow. And Serendipity. Again, I guess it's about proximity, because again, I like Serendipity, but I don't even care about it. No, it's about proximity, man. Again, Belgian Red is a fantastic one. It goes on the list with New Glarus. It does.
There's lots.
Next time,
Lots.
so Nick, next time I come through there, I will bring you some. I need to bring Spotted Cow all the time.
Oh yes.
But I'll bring you some specialty ones that you can't get, and we'll spread them around.
I would love that.
and
We will do more breweries.
One more Spotted Cow note real quick, and then I'll jump to you, Doug. There were people who were selling who would get Spotted Cow and then take it over the border to Minneapolis and sell it, and they were charged with felonies, by the way. So anyway,
Damn.
don't play, man. Don't play with the Spotted Cow, especially Minnesotans. We're protective over here about it. I don't know. Anyway, Doug, go.
I don't remember what I was going to say because the felony thing just threw me.
Yeah, beer days.
So, yeah, I can't remember.
That's
Sorry.
what they do. That's New Glarus there. So, there has to be an asterisk though, beer days, and the reason the asterisk is there is for all the people who come from Illinois, and then there's a liquor store at the border of Illinois and Wisconsin, and Kenosha, I believe it is. And people from when they go, they come up north and they buy Spotted Cow, and then they go cabin, and then when they come home, they buy Spotted Cow. That is the place that sells the most New Glarus beer in the whole state. It's right by the border, because people grab it and go. So the 2,000 barrels in just Wisconsin, he's correct, but it's not just Wisconsin people buying it. So anyway, what were you gonna say, Doug?
Nothing.
I had nothing to add.
No, it's not that. It's just like I'm trying to remember what the hell I was going to say. It's one of those things where, like, hey, I'm walking into the kitchen and I want to get something. Fuck, what the fuck was I walking into the kitchen for? That's where my brain is right now. So sorry.
Well, it's 11 o'clock at night, so you know.
Yeah. I may or may not have had multiple drinks before the show started. So.
Oh, you were pre-gaming.
Yeah, I was pre-gaming with rum, so probably not the best idea.
That's why the rum's gone.
Mm-hmm. It is, actually. I threw it into the recycle bin.
That is solid.
Actually, I had a question for you guys, especially you guys, Greg and Doug and Nick too. So I love stouts. Stouts is like my go-to when I want something tasty. How do you guys feel about, like, I don't know, I almost feel like the right phrasing for it is an excessive name for a beer. So I went out to Sly Fox, which is like pretty close to where I'm at, and they have a stout called what's it called? Snow Falling in Darkness. Like, just it's like some weird poetic thing to try to describe their beer, and that's what they decided to name it. And I don't know, I felt kind of weird that I picked up a beer that was called Snow Falling in Darkness.
Is
some sort of poetic stuff going on.
Is Robert Frost naming their beers now? Is that what's
right? So I guess
That's
my question
awesome.
is, like, if you see that on a menu, is it a turnoff, or are you just sort of ambivalent toward it as long as the beer is good?
I want the story. Like, I mean, I'm a writer. We're all right. We all write. But like my dream job that I want to be that person who writes the beer story that goes on a can. Like, why is this beer named what it is? Yeah. So for Snow Falling at Night, I want that goddamn story, man. I want to know why it has that name. And I read, God, I don't remember what the name of the beer was like 3 episodes ago. Oh, I think it was a Victory one. It was a Victory beer that I had a crowler of. And I'm reading the story. It sounded like porn. I believe it was Dirt Wolf, actually. It was Victory Dirt Wolf. And I'm reading the story. But, like, that's what I want. If there's a ridiculous name, I need to know why. But that's me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Doug cares more about the label than the name. Am I right, Doug?
Yeah. If you give me, so let's say you have a weird name like Airwolf, but you give me a good label, I'm pretty sold. Because
Did you say Airwolf?
Airwolf, whatever.
I love that show.
Airwolf was a great show. What was it? Beer Wolf?
Dirt Wolf. Dirt
Beer
Wolf.
Sorry. But if you're going to give
Wolf,
me
yeah.
a label that kind of like that grabs me, then I'm not so worried about the story behind the name of the beer, if that makes sense. If I can get the sense of the story through the label, I'm in.
Yeah. You know what's funny is, so the only IPA that I have found that I enjoy is the New Belgium Juicy Haze, the Voodoo Ranger GPA. And hold on, what did my mother say?
I think she just called you old
Old
frothing
fr-
slosh.
It's a turn off. Oh, no, it's a turn off.
Yeah,
That's fair.
crazy beer name turn off.
If
but
there's not
yeah,
a
so
beer named
the
Old
only-
Frothing Slosh, man, there needs to be.
What
There
about
needs
Old
to be.
Peculiar?
Alex,
Old
brew it.
Yes.
Alex
Oh,
needs
God.
to brew that now. So yeah, no, I totally what it get on the labels because I would not tried that IPA, which I now love, if it wasn't for the label being like just visibly
in
satisfying.
your face,
Mm-hmm.
just all up in your face.
In my
I have
face.
I have a great. I left it upstairs. I have a great can from Stable 12. I think they gave it to us that day, but they did a Game of Thrones like end of watch beer for the end of the series. So I opened it the night of the Game of Thrones series finale last year. I have the can. I usually have it downstairs. I don't tonight, but it's like a glow in the dark. Like their logo is this sweet horse, which was kind of perfect for the show. And it's like a glow in the dark blue, kind of like that. But anywho, Old Frothing Slush. There is one. What?
Frothing Slush.
Excuse me while I hit the Googles.
I'm looking it up right now. I gotta find this.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
There's an E in old.
What do you think of this comment?
Pittsburgh Brewing Company.
Doug, what do you think of this comment?
True.
Yeah, that's fair. But what I'm saying is that if you're going to pull me in with the label, you're pulling. It's like the old phrase where you eat with your eyes. You know that whole phrase was like you eat with your eyes first. Something
I'm using my mouth.
If you see something unappetizing, you're much less likely to eat it. Whereas if you go, here's this beer, and it might be the same style of beer. It might be an amber lager. Well, okay, great. But if your label looks better than the other ones, guess what? I'm going with it's a great label, and I'm going to go, well, if you put that much time into your label, I want to think that you're going to put that much time into your beer.
Your label is
and
pretty. Your beer sucks. Well, that's not enjoyable.
Oh yeah, my mom should absolutely come on the show. 100%, 110%, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
Alex, let Nancy name your beers. Nancy can name your beers.
absolutely.
Yes.
So Doug, to your point, or to the point of the comment, really. So I actually have like a small shelf with stacked up cans of beer that I've had in the past that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. And there's one over there. I thought about grabbing it real quick. It's got Japanese writing on it. It's a Japanese beer, and it's a two-tone blue and white. I can't remember what the actual beer in it was, but as soon as I look at it, I get that satisfied feeling of that was a good beer. That's a beer that I need to, that I want to have again.
Put it in your mouth.
So yeah, no, it's really interesting. As soon as I look at the label, I get that feeling of, oh yeah, I remember that. That was really good. Yeah.
Put that beer in your mouth.
Nice mix, Ed. And
thank you.
The Waldo Special Ale is one of my favorite beers ever. Love that beer. You guys ever have that?
Nope.
I've heard of it, and I've only heard good things.
It's one of those smack you in the face hot beers.
Where is that from?
It will. If you're not ready for it, it's great.
That beer says, as Ben texted me yesterday, what do the five fingers say to the face? Slap. Right in the face.
Your mother has declined our invite to the show.
Oh, come on.
Just then invite his dad. Mark's cool. Ben's dad's cool too. I like him.
Beer Day says 2020 version of Waldo's is the bomb. So now, let's talk about something before we go, because we're supposed to be in a Zoom thing now, but everybody knows we're waiting for after the show. But Waldo's is a triple IPA, Ben, and I heard that I heard in another podcast that somebody does, like you guys do, that's not really one of Ben's favorite styles. And actually, Ben, before I even get to you or toss it to you, I would agree. Actually, the one that everybody loves is what is that? 120-minute from Dogfish Head.
120 is a triple?
Yeah.
Right? Is that what
Did
it
not
is?
know that.
It's 120, right? Is that the one I'm talking about?
Yep.
Probably. There's 60, 90, and 120.
Yeah. Okay, 120 is the one they're like, oh, you should age it before you drink it. Well, no, it's a mess. Going, I like a lot of Dogfish Heads, but for me, that's a mess. And then if you have to age it, I don't know. I mean, again, good beers age, but like not for, I don't know. Ben, what is your take on today's triple IPAs and craft beer?
I remember it's interesting, when I started hanging out with this guy, when I started, expanding my palate as far as beer and stuff like that, is when the sort of IPA craze hit our area. I feel like I was starting to see a lot more about it on social media and stuff like that. So I gave it a try. I gave it a shot, and it just tastes nasty. To me, it tastes like somebody soaked their feet in beer, poured it into the bottom of a trash can, used the trash can for a few months, and then emptied it out into a can and served it to me. I can't stand it.
I can't believe you talk about Alex like that, man. That's messed up.
Dude, no, awful. Yeah, no. No, so like Juicy Haze IPA, I really enjoy that one. And the main reason I can say that I enjoy that IPA in particular is weird because I've never really been able to put my finger on the terminology. Mm-hmm. But that classic IPA flavor, that sourness, the nastiness, you know what I'm talking about?
The hop? The
sure.
hoppiness?
Yeah. So
the yumminess.
It's like I feel like that one is just over the edge. It almost just barely classifies as an IPA, and that's probably the reason I actually enjoy drinking it. I don't know what it is. I can't do it. Can't do it.
Alex agrees with me. They call it an IPA, but it's a muddled mess if you don't age it.
I don't even know if I've had 120. If I've had the 120 minute. I did have accidentally on purpose, their worldwide stout.
Okay.
Which is an 18% beer. I had never heard of it. So my mom and stepdad have a place in Rehoboth, which is where Dogfish Head has their restaurant and their brew pub.
Yeah, I've been there.
So it's right there. So it's just Dogfish Head is everywhere down there. So I go into the beer store that's just like within walking distance. Mm-hmm. And I grab a bunch of beers. I'm like, oh, I just want a stout. I had IPA. So I was like, oh, I just see this 4-pack Dogfish Head. Let me grab it. I go up and they're like, that's like $100 or whatever. I'm like, I have 16 beers. How is it $100? And they're like, oh, that one's $35.
$50.
Yeah, she's like, those are $35. I'm like, there's 4 beers. I had no idea. She's like, and my card's already in the machine. She's like, do you want me to take it off? I'm like, nope, I'm already paying for it. And then I look it up. I'm like, oh, this is like between 15 and 18%. I'm going to be fucked up this weekend. And it was delicious. Like, it was amazing.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was definitely a great accidental on purpose purchase because now I want some more.
Ben, what is the trash can beer? Ben, what is the trash can beer you're talking about?
Rolling Rock.
Trash can beer? Trash can beer is any IPA, basically.
Get out.
Especially if it's a double or a triple or any of that nonsense.
We're breaking up, sir.
Look, I like lagers, I like stouts, I like English dark ales, which are nasty, but I love them for some reason. I like amber lagers, which have that funny little nasty, fuzzy, like rotten fruit thing that hits the back of your throat.
None of that sounds good.
No, it doesn't.
Awful.
But
that sounds terrible. That sounds trash candy.
I love it. That and it's it just goes goes to whatever y'all it is, whatever you enjoy. You know, you made apparently, Alex, you made an awful Russian Imperial, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
The trash can beer was your beer, is what
So,
he's saying.
you never know.
Pretty messed up. So rude, man.
That's not what I'm saying.
He's our friend.
Ben,
He's our friend.
Your face is rude.
one afternoon with me, and Ben's gonna change his mind about IPAs.
Which Mike Andrews did while touring with you.
Probably.
That was fantastic. Also, I did not like sours, and I had them that day, and I tolerate them now. I tolerate them.
Tolerate is about as much as I do as sours as well.
Yeah.
I hate sours.
Is that American IPA is such a diverse style, and I'm just talking about American IPAs. I'm not talking about hazies and milkshakes and all that bullshit. I'm not even talking that. It's such a diverse style that you just have to have that faith and hunt. You can't just throw them all there again, because a lot of them are shitty, Ben. I give you a lot of them are bad. There are many bad IPAs, but there are so many good ones, and there's so many subtle ones. And I just think you don't like. I think there's a hop that you don't like. Everybody has hop DNA, I would call, meaning they like certain hops and they don't.
Sure.
There's definitely ones that, I mean, Alex will speak to it. There's hops that he hates, and if somebody would make an IPA with it, he wouldn't drink it.
Right.
I don't know if he wouldn't drink it, but you know what I'm saying. He would definitely go through it.
He would taste it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah. You know, fellas, we could sit here all night and talk.
For sure.
We can do that. We can do that in Zoom, I guess.
Absolutely.
When we're done here.
We're going to go transition to Zoom, but I didn't know if there's anything else that you guys wanted to convey about yourselves besides I think we hit all the points.
Yeah.
And,
We're easy, man. We're easy. We just like to talk.
What, you know, as far as podcasts go, yeah, we stick to a topic, but you know, we're so laid back. The point is that we're two best friends who love to have conversations with each other, and we would love you guys to listen in on that conversation. And you know, send us tweets. You know, tweet us, send us into Instagram or comment or something like that on Facebook. Join the conversation with us. It's just hanging out and having fun, and
That's all. You know,
that's what we love doing.
If nobody listens, I don't even care. Like, we just have such a great time, you know, with our like, we do this for a solid 45 minutes before we even start recording. Like, that's just that it's like we have our weekly date. You know what I mean? Like, we don't see each other that often, so we have our weekly date for 45 minutes, and then we do the show for our post date. You know, it's
dessert, if you will.
Yeah, I am. What?
No, get out of here.
I call that pre-production. It makes it sound like, you know what I mean? It makes it sound like we're actually professionals. I call it pre-production.
Oh yeah, we're deciding what we do. Like, we have an episode that will drop tomorrow, which is I should have posted it today, but I forgot. Which we talked about our shitty first jobs.
Yes.
Oh yeah, cool.
Which, you know,
I have
like high school, early college, like shitty first couple jobs. And I will drop a little hint. I worked for the mob. I was mob adjacent when I was a freshman in high school.
And I love that phrase
that.
because it came up in the podcast too. Mob adjacent.
Yeah,
so
it was
not
mob adjacent.
Not in it, not involved at all.
No.
Adjacent.
Yeah, I was mob adjacent.
It's way ahead of the pandemic, by the way.
Exactly.
So that'll drop tomorrow morning when I quickly edit by adding music and post it.
great, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for having us on, guys. This was awesome.
Yeah, this has been fabulous. Thanks, guys.
no, and we got to have you guys on the Friday show too. We're gonna work that out.
Yeah, a Friday
Yes.
show would be just off the fucking rails.
Hell yeah.
Well, there's no format, and I actually tried to want to get your word out on this, but I mean, we did. So
Yeah, we did, and we had a fucking blast doing it. So it's great.
yeah, the non-Friday shows are more focused on our guests and talking about what you guys do. And our Friday shows are just a free for all. We don't really give a shit about.
This was basically a free for all, and we didn't give a shit. So
Yeah, no, dude,
it'll be this all over again.
getting the chance to hang out with you two guys, is just awesome. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg.
You're wrong.
We have a lot of memories together from the one from that one Dad 2.0 when many conversations and many beers were had. Doug, have we actually met in person? I can't remember.
No, sir.
I don't think so, but
Yeah, we have not.
Knows I've been at, you haven't been to the one time
Right.
I was gonna come down. Night, Nancy.
Hi, Mom.
Night, Mom.
The one I came down and I was gonna hang out, and I met Jeff Bogle at Victory, and
Yeah.
you and Nick neither could make it for some, and it
Yeah.
was probably because you had fucking tiny kids.
Well,
Like literally, it was like, okay, well, shit, just Jeff and I will hang out, and he hung out with me and Joel, and we had a blast. Now Jeff doesn't drink, but I mean, it didn't matter. We went, we had good food. The Victory place has their food.
The
there.
food's great. Yeah.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
Fun fact about that Victory, the main one in Downtown, I'm on their wall. My name is on their wall.
Yeah.
When I was a reporter back in the day, about 15 years ago, I was in the town, Downtown, and I covered them a lot. And they made their entire like one wall and a half when they did a redo is newspaper clippings. There's giant digital, recreations up on the wall. They're basically like digital wallpaper. And it's just, you see that it's like photo by, and then there's a picture that I took of those guys from like one of their very first fall festivals that they do every October. And I'm like, oh, and it's right above a booth. And I'm like, I just want to grab a Sharpie and like sign my name under there. And for the first time ever, I finally, just before, like a month or so before, you couldn't go to restaurants anymore, finally sat in that booth. Finally.
Nice.
So if you ever go there, ask for my booth. Like, can I sit in the Nick booth? What? That one. Yeah.
And on that note,
It's a good
we're gonna
note.
let you guys go. We'll see you guys soon over in Zoom.
All right.
3 minutes.
Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Stay away from me.
For Friday. Cheers.
Thanks, Mom.
That was the first time we ever had someone's mom.
Yeah, that was crazy and awesome. And yeah,
Great.
we got a Zoom thing, so we got to get to. But man, that was awesome. I'm glad we got to have them on the Friday show, because that was
On Friday.
for all for sure.
For sure. I don't know if people want to. You can't use this URL, but if that's what you want to try to get into our Zoom, the instructions are in the Daddy Porter Beer Group. Yeah. And then tomorrow we have some fun here. See you around, guys. Thanks, Beer Days, for
Yeah,
commenting on the show for sure. Dun, dun, dun. Tomorrow's Carrie Jaworski from Third Space Brewing. Looking forward to that.
that's gonna be awesome.
And then next week is we're having American Craft Beer Chat with Julia Hirsch. She's the
Yeah, Craft Beer Week is next week, so it's gonna be a busy week.
yeah. And Craft Beer Week with Julia Hirsch. We get to ask her about all this. And you've never been to the Beer Bloggers Conference, but she's the first person to talk there, and she lays out everything about the craft beer industry, seltzers. She hits everything. It's just going to be a great time. Anybody who wants to ask any questions about where our craft beer industry is, where she thinks it's going, what she's hearing about closures, what she's hearing about everything. So that's going to be epic, man. I can't wait. So
Awesome.
got a great, and we have Beer Days says we got Jim Garolson from Parch Eagle. He's going to be our first brewer that we ever had on the show, I think. So yeah, man, we anked up. Yes, Daniel. Julia next week. It's going to be fun.
For sure.
Yes. So we're off to Zoom land, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. 8 p.m. for the Brothers and Booze.
Yep.
Craziness.
Yep.
Thanks, Doug.
Later.